Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, we are going to have an update today on Hurricane Lee and Hurricane Margot as it's approaching Bermuda. It's getting ready to turn north, hopefully very soon. And we want to see what cruise lines are going to be affected, if anyone's going to be interrupted by Hurricane Lee especially. We also have, one cruise ship, they say it's ready to sail again after 2 weeks of repairs and cancellations. Should be good news for passengers. First off, before I start, yesterday I mentioned the Twin Towers. It was 9/11, yes, and I forgot to mention the plane that crashed at the Pentagon as well, as we lost people there. So we always think of the Twin Towers on this day, but we should not forget others also who lost their lives during this time. I just wanted to mention that as well, and thank you for people in the chat for reminding me of that, because we tend to always focus on the towers. Well, we have Royal Caribbean has finally come out and told us, hey, guess what? The Radiance of the Seas that's been stuck in Sitka, Alaska, is finally ready to sail, which means the sailing on the 15th from Sitka to Vancouver will be able to go forward. They also wanted to stress that a lot of people were wondering about the ship's seaworthiness and things like that. They said it had nothing to do with that. It all was about propulsion and being able to reach certain speeds, and they figured it was better to just get it fixed instead of canceling numerous ports on a 7-day cruise. I completely agree with that. I would rather have them fix things so it doesn't happen again in the future. And it was probably severe enough that they needed to get it done right away, and they needed to be in a port that could do it. So good news. It's the final Alaska sailing of the year for the Radiance of the Seas. And then she heads off across Panama Canal, and we'll start doing Caribbean winter cruises. It's that time of year again, folks, where we're getting ready to sail the Caribbean, and it gets super busy because it's getting colder and people want to escape the cold weather, especially us down here in Canada, unless you're like me and you decide to take a fall cruise from further south to north into Canada. Now we have Hurricane Lee is now getting ready. It has started to slowly turn a little bit north. It is expected to start really turning by tomorrow. 2 p.m. tomorrow, it is really expected to start heading north. How severe the turn is going to be, right now, most of the modeling has it hitting New England and the Maritimes on Sunday around 2 a.m. It will have slowed down from the current winds of like 185 kilometers an hour to around 95 kilometers an hour, which is a much less severe storm. However, that's right in the path of any cruise ships going into Canada. So 2 a.m. Sunday, hitting around Nova Scotia. So what does that mean for our group cruise next week on the Caribbean Princess leaving from New York? Well, that means it's going to be 2 days past us by the time it hits the Maritimes. Not only that, we have 3 stops before we head into the Maritimes, which gives it 3 more days to disperse and get further away from us, which is good news for us. Now, my concern and my question going forward is, right now the Caribbean Princess is on a 10-day return cruise from Quebec City to New York. And guess what? On Sunday, it is scheduled to be in Boston. But the day before that, it's scheduled to be in Halifax on Saturday, right when the hurricane is heading up into the Maritimes. So my question is going to be, do we think that they might skip one of the ports and do one of 2 things? They could stay further east and stay away from the hurricane and go around it by missing a port and taking an extra day at sea? Or will they skip a port, leave early, and cut across the west coast and make a mad dash down towards Boston right away and avoid the hurricane that way? I don't know. It seems to be going directly in the path of the Caribbean Princess. I don't know what they're going to do, but you know they're working on a game plan right now, and you know they are in, contact with the ship and the Weather Bureau, etc. It is scheduled today, I believe, to be in Prince Edward Island. So they have a few days up there, but with the hurricane approaching, look what the Caribbean cruises are doing right now. They're avoiding Eastern Caribbean cruises so they can redirect them to Western and Southern Caribbean just in case the hurricane and the rough seas. So when you have a cruise ship that literally has to cut across the path of an upcoming tropical storm and hurricane, now remember, by Saturday and Sunday it will be much less severe than it is now, but still strong enough to be very rough seas for any passengers on board. So I'll be monitoring this very closely. I'm hoping there's no delays of the ship getting into New York. It should not. Like I said, it hits on Sunday. We don't leave till Tuesday. We should be fine. The trouble is, I'm wondering which direction they're going to go. They're probably going to have to do something at one of these ports, especially I think Bar Harbor is a tender port, so they might skip Bar Harbor altogether because it might be just too rough a seas to tender anyway, which might make them do that mad rush down to Boston without any stops along the way. Curious, what do you think they should do? Do you think they should head further east, stay out, and go around the hurricane that way? The only trouble with going that way is that you never know what the hurricane can do. It can suddenly veer east and head further out to sea where you're heading. So it might be, if you know the path, it might be the safest distance is a straight line. And they may just rush on down at full speed. We will see. At least on the good side of this, it does not look like either hurricanes, Margot or Lee, will be much of an effect as far as us feeling it on our group cruise next week. Like I said, it hits the Maritimes a full 2 days before we get there. And so we should be fine. Even flights going in and out of New York should be fine by then. I'm flying in on Monday. Some people are coming in on Saturday. It still should be fine. It's far enough east to not be too bad for the airlines as well. Fingers crossed that it keeps tracking the way it is. I am very curious to see what the Caribbean Princess does, and I'll be keeping us all updated as we go along. I hope you appreciate this little update. If you did, traveling during hurricane season, isn't it the best? I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Till next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.